Can't see all the figures in your display case? Is your display case not yet compatible for the awesome pop culture living room floating shelves? Link in the description. Can't find a pre-made riser you like that doesn't cost a lot or suck? It's time to rise up and make yourself these cool, sleek display case risers, and I'll show you how. In my second display case, I wanted to add shelves so that my figures could all be seen. Ideally, I'd do that with floating shelves, but with this display case, I currently haven't figured out how to do that. But I will, even if it kills me. Not really, but I'll figure it out. So I decided to go with risers. Yeah, I know what I said in the floating shelves video about risers.
They're boring.
But these are damn cool. I didn't like a lot of the risers that I saw online, and some of them were really expensive. Most of them were acrylic risers, which are, After making my video on the wood floating shelf, I thought it would be pretty cool to make risers out of wood and aluminum extrusions. So that's what I did, and boy did they turn out awesome. The great thing about these risers is you can make them any length or height you desire. You can make them any color you want too. You can even make them blend in a diorama type display. For my riser, I decided to match the interior of my case, which is white. And to match the white the best that I could, I went with silver aluminum for the legs. By the way, for those wondering, here they are in black, and they look good. Everything I use for this build is linked down in the description. Now let's get this party started.
Engage.
What you will need: 6" by 1/2 inch thick by 36" long craft board, 2020 V-slot aluminum extrusion, M5 by 20mm bolt, black M5 by 12mm by 1mm washers, paint, any color you want, optional item, acrylic sealer, tools, Allen wrench, paint roller and tray, 1/4 inch drill bit, circular saw, ruler, drill, clamps, measuring tape, combination square, sandpaper. Buying your aluminum extrusions. There are 2 different places that I have found where you can buy your aluminum cut to size and threaded so you can use screws on them. Which company you will use will depend on where you live in the world. Now, you can always buy a piece of aluminum and cut it down to the sizes you need and thread them yourself. But I'm lazy, and I'm not gonna do that. For the US and North America, you should use Openbuilds.com. For small projects like this, Openbuilds.com is the perfect place to get your cut to size threaded aluminum. Openbuilds gives you 5 lengths of aluminum to choose from. You will choose one of these lengths, add it to your cart, and then in the order comments, you will add the length and how many cuts you need, and if you will need them threaded. For example, if we're making one riser that is going to be about 2 inches tall, we will need 4 pieces of aluminum that are about 38mm tall. Yes, you're still going to need to use millimeters, my US friends, so figure out the height of your riser and change it to millimeters. Jeez, it's not that hard. Don't forget to include the thickness of the board in your calculations. Take the 4 riser legs and multiply them by 38mm and you will get 152mm. Out of the available sizes of aluminum extrusions, we will choose the 250mm size since that is greater than 152mm. In the comments box, you will add a note that from the 250mm piece, you will need 4 cuts of 38mm. You will then also add if you need the sides threaded. In this project, you will only need to thread one side on each leg. The threading will cost you 50 cents each. For those in the UK and EU, I'd use oozenest.com. Ordering aluminum extrusions from oozenest.com is super simple. I wish we had a oozenest in the US. That's how easy it is. And the only reason for this project that I recommend Openbuilds.com for the US and North American peeps is that the shipping is much cheaper. With oozenest, all you need to do is click on the type of aluminum you want, type in the size you need in millimeters, click on the box that says one or both sides threaded, and then add it to cart. It's that simple. No extra comments box and hoping that it gets cut. Measuring and cutting your wood. To make this build easier, you can skip this step entirely by having Lowe's or Home Depot cut the board to the size that you desire. That's it, at least for this step. Now, if you're a baller, you're gonna cut this bad boy yourself. The first thing we're gonna do is figure out the length that we want our riser to be. For my risers, the length will be 23 1/4 inches. For your risers, well, they're as long as you want them to be. Next, we're going to clamp down the board and saw it. Now make sure you save the extra board pieces because you might be able to use them for another set of risers, like I did with my black set. Before we move on to the next step, we're gonna do a little sanding of the edges because they're gonna be rough, and you want them as smooth as a baby's bottom. Measuring and drilling holes. The center of the aluminum extrusion is 1 centimeter in from the edges. To make sure that the aluminum leg is flush with the board on each side, we're going to need to mark and drill a hole that is 1 centimeter in from each edge of the board in the corner. Take your ruler and mark in 1 centimeter, and then take your combination square and mark a line. Next, go to the other edge, mark in 1 centimeter, and make a line across. Where these 2 lines cross is where you're gonna wanna drill. We're gonna do this for all 4 corners. Taking a 1/4 inch drill bit, drill your hole. This should give you a big enough hole to fit in the M5 screw. Don't worry if your hole isn't perfect. I mean, whose is? Am I right? Once you drilled your hole, you will need to sand the area and remove any excess debris. After we're done drilling our holes, we'll test out the aluminum legs and see how they look. Painting. Time to take the paint roller and tray out and start painting. I did 3 coats on each side with a 30-minute wait time between each coat. After the last coat, I let it dry overnight because I'm patient and I do things right sometimes. Damn, these look sexy. Sealing in the acrylic. This is an optional step, but a recommended step. You don't have to do it, but I recommend it because with the acrylic sealer, you seal in the acrylic paint and your figures won't get paint stuck to them when they sit on the riser. Now, to seal in the acrylic paint, you use acrylic sealer. Duh! I decided to go with a matte finish for my risers, but they also come in glossy. So if you like, that shine, go for it. All you need to do is spray it on and let it dry. I did 3 coats of acrylic sealer for my risers with a 15-minute wait time between coats. Putting it all together. Take your freshly painted board and start screwing in the legs. When screwing in the leg, stop when you feel resistance, but the leg feels secure. You don't want to go in too tight because you might dent the board. Once all 4 legs are screwed in tight, it's time to add it to your display case and see how it turned out. Wow. Not bad if I do say so myself. I loved how this riser turned out. The design works perfectly for this display case, and most importantly, I can see all my figures. As with every tutorial on my channel, I think anybody can make these. It just takes a little time and patience. Now I know what you're saying, Costa, I don't have a garage shelf yet. Well, if you need to build a garage shelf display, you can go here.